Hi fam, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. Please consider subscribing by hitting the subscribe button. Also turn on your notification bell so that you get notified each time I upload new videos. And to all my amazing returning subscribers, I love you guys so much. Thank you for always coming back to watch my videos. Recently, I was just reflecting on my days as an international student in the UK, and I asked myself a question, and that is whether there is anything I wish I knew as an international student. Is there anything I wish I knew before being a skilled worker in the UK? Do I have any regret as an international student? Did I make any mistake that I regret, or are there things generally I wish I knew before now? And the answer is yes. Of course, it took me time to finally realize that there is actually one thing I wish I knew back then as an international student before crossing over to be a skilled worker in the UK. In this video, I'll be sharing one of the regrets I have, or one major thing I wish I knew back then as an international student. So if you're an international student or an intending international student in the UK, this video is definitely for you, and I'm sure you will get value out of it. So why not like this video already? Subscribe to the channel if you have not, turn on your notification bell, and let's go straight into the video. One thing I wish I knew as an international student in the United Kingdom is the importance of credit. I never knew the importance of credit until some months after my graduation. I never knew that owing someone, I never knew that being in debt is actually an advantage in this country. Of course, I'm a Nigerian, and being a Nigerian, I don't like anything debt. I don't like anything, buying things on credit. I used to have this mentality as an international student then, that what I cannot afford, I'm not going to buy. Of course, it's a good mentality, don't get me wrong, but you'll be shocked when you know, in case you don't already know, that it's not just about what you can afford. Sometimes you need to buy some things on credit intentionally just to make living in this country very easy for you. I will explain why. Just join me as I share my story with you. So when I would have realized the importance of credit in this country was when I wanted to get a brand new phone for myself. I think during my second year in the university. I did mention it to a colleague of mine at work then that I wanted to get a new phone. And I was just mentioning it to him how I saw different prices on different websites like Amazon. And I've also gone to price this particular phone I wanted to get in some shops. And I kind of feel that buying it online is cheaper than buying it in store. Then this colleague of mine went ahead to say, why not go ahead and buy it on store and buy it on contract? I asked what he meant. He said, well, you can buy it on contract so that it can help improve your credit score. He just said it in passing. And for me, as naive as I was then, I didn't even bother to ask him, what do you mean by credit score? The moment I heard that is about, buying and then you pay gradually, I just said, no, that's not for me. I told him I have the money to buy this phone. I don't need to buy it on credit. He just said, yeah, of course, I know you have the money, but just buy it to improve your credit score. But I was so adamant because I don't like credit. Why would I buy something on credit when I know I have the money? Meanwhile, we calculated how much, because sometimes this contract or credit of a thing, how it works is it has interest. So for instance, if that phone is for £200, if I buy it on contract and say that I will pay after 1 year or 2 years, at the end, I might end up buying the phone or paying for £250 or almost £300, depending on how many years the contract is for. So when I just did that calculation, I'm like, why buy a phone for £250 when I have £200 to buy it now? I just told him, no, thank you for your advice. I'm going to go ahead and buy this phone cash. And that is what I went on to do. So that was one instance that, looking back now, I think I would have realized the importance of credit. This colleague was trying to tell me something, but because I was so adamant, because my ears were blocked that I don't want to hear credit, I don't want to be in debt, I just missed that opportunity of learning something that would have been useful for me even as I continue to stay in this country. I've heard it before then, talking about when I was talking with my colleague, how people live on credit in this country. People have credit card, people go ahead and buy phone on contract because, you see people using iPhone. That my colleague actually gave me an example. He just showed me his iPhone. He bought the latest first iPhone. He said I didn't buy this phone cash. I bought it on contract. And that's the idea I have that people always do. I was like, why go for something you can't afford? That was the mentality I have. And then I went ahead to say, I'm never going to live that kind of life. And you might be like me. You might have seen people, going along, having iPhone. And when you ask them, maybe you want to hail them, wow, you have this money. And they will tell you, no, I bought it on credit. Or you say, oh, credit, all right. So you might have seen people like that, and you might have made this decision like me. But I'm just here to tell you that that is actually not what it is. On the surface level, you might be making sense, but when you look deeper into it, you find out that you are missing out on some information. Fast forward to some months after my graduation, I started working, of course. I worked for some months, and then I passed my driving test, and I wanted to buy a car because I need a car for my job. It makes my job easier, and life generally in the UK becomes easier when you drive. I always say it, driving in this country is not about luxury, it's actually a necessity. So I needed a car, and then I started, checking online to get a car and all of that. When I finally saw the one I wanted to buy, I made deposit, and of course, I've already made up my mind that I'm going to buy it on credit. Okay, yeah. Hold up. I know I told you guys earlier that I never wanted to buy anything on credit, right? But the truth is that there are some things that you want to buy, okay, that you can't even afford, but you need it. And something like a car in this country is one of them. In some cases, you might not be able to afford a car. Some people might be able to, but most people might not be able to afford buying a car outrightly, okay? So in that instance, it's not about you going for what you cannot afford. It's about you going for something you need. And because you can't afford it, yet you need it, credit comes in, and that's a good way to use credit, right? Yes, but there are small things that I should have done earlier that would have enhanced my buying that car on credit. So when I wanted to buy my car, of course, I started applying to some finance companies for them to give me loan to buy this car from me. Then I'll start paying gradually on credit, and all the finance companies I applied to, all of them, they just denied me, okay? All of them, they kept rejecting my application. And eventually, I found out that why that is because I had a very low credit score. I'm going to give you a dictionary meaning of credit score and also try to explain it using my own words. So according to the dictionary, credit score is a numerical rating representing the perceived ability of a person or organization to fulfill their financial commitments based on an analysis of their credit history and current financial circumstances. Perceived ability, okay? So the finance company, they have to know, like, perceive my ability to pay them back the money. So credit score, that is where it comes in. Before they can actually give me credit, they will go and check my credit score. Credit score is a number, and your credit score can be low, it can be good, it can be average, it can be excellent. Yeah. So if they go and check your credit score, that will give them an idea whether you will be able to pay this money back. So if you don't have a good credit score, automatically the company will have doubts about you paying back the loan, so they will not trust that you will be able to pay them back. And even if they want to risk it, okay, maybe they are looking at your present financial circumstance and feel like, okay, you have a stable job, you might be able to do it. Any company that does that, believe me, your interest rate will be very, very high. But most times, some of them will not even want to risk it, so they won't want to give you any loan. They won't want to, help you get that car, okay? So that is a perceived ability of a person to fulfill their financial commitment, and this is based on credit history. So my credit score was low because I never, as an international student, I never had a credit history. Like I said, I didn't like credit, so I wasn't in for credit. So I had no credit history. I had no direct debit on my account, nothing. I was just living my life one day at a time. And at that point of buying my car, I realized that I have made a huge mistake because I couldn't afford my car and all the finance companies kept rejecting my application. At the end of the day, I had to buy that car cash, and I'll spare you the details because that's not the essence of this video. Apart from buying a car, another reason why you need a good credit score is when you want to buy mortgage. This one is very important, except you don't have a lifelong goal of having your own house in the UK. If you want to remain a tenant forever, then maybe you might also forget about this video. Don't even bother about building your credit score. So you can say that it's not just about not going for something you cannot afford, because when it comes to something like buying a car, or buying a house, you find out that it's not about affordability. That time your credit score comes into place, and that time you have no choice rather than to buy it on credit, okay? And you need a good credit score for you to get to that point. So if you are like me as an international student and you are watching this video and you still have that mindset of no credit, or you don't even have any direct debit on your account, you need to think twice. You really need to think twice. So how can you build your credit score? Basically, it's about all those contracts. So for instance, you might have the money, just like in my own case, but if you want to get a new phone now, I will advise, instead of buying it, even if it's a phone of £200, the phone looks cheap, okay? It's £100 phone. You can afford it. You have £100 to pay. My advice would be, please don't buy that phone outrightly, okay? Just do it for the sake of your future, especially if you have plans of staying back in this country after your studies. All you need to do is to buy it on contract and let them set up a direct debit on your main account, your bank account, and then it starts counting. Every month, they'll be removing it. They'll be removing it automatically. Another thing to make sure that your credit score doesn't get affected is that make sure that you never miss a payment, because it can affect your credit score. If you miss a payment, because when the time comes, when you set up a direct debit, you need to choose a particular day of the month that the debit will occur. Maybe you want it 12th of every month. So 12th of every month, automatically, the company will take the amount like you are to pay. They will take it directly from your bank account automatically. So if, for instance, it gets to August, and then they are meant to take £20 and you have £15 in your account left, then they couldn't collect it because you don't have enough money. That will actually affect your credit score. So you don't want that to happen. Another way you can build your credit score, even as an international student, very easy one, is to be on the electoral register. Make sure that your address, your current address, that you register on the electoral register using that address. And if for whatever reason you move, also try and update it. It's very, very important. Another way that you can also build your credit score is to set up direct debits for your bills. So for instance, in your house, I know you pay water bill, you pay electricity bill, you pay gas bill, yeah, you pay all of that. It will be best that you set up direct debit with the energy company that supplies electricity and gas to you. Make sure that you have direct debit under them to pay your bills, okay? Also the water bill, also make sure that you set up a direct debit. That also helps to improve your credit score. I know that students don't pay council tax, so pending the time you don't pay council tax, ignore it. But if you finish as a student and you start paying council tax, also set up a direct debit for your council tax. Another thing that can also help to improve your credit score is having a credit card. Yes, credit card is very important. You might also want to know, I also vouch that I will never have a credit card while I was an international student. I hated the idea of credit card. I mean, for what? I'm not going for what I can't afford. So why do I need a credit card? So it was a no-no for me, okay? But if you have a credit card, it also helps to improve your credit score. However, I know that as an international student, or if you newly came into the country, it might be very difficult for your bank to grant you credit card, especially in your first few months in the UK. Most banks will not do that. But then I want to tell you about a credit card you can easily get, and which will also help to improve your credit score automatically, and that is American Express. Well, this video is not sponsored in any way, but I'm just sharing an information that I believe will be useful for you. So you can get American Express credit card, okay, even if you have stayed in this country for just few months. Yes, you can. I think what I'm going to do is to leave a link in the description box where you can just click on it. It's something very easy. My husband did it, because when I learned my lesson, I made sure that the same didn't happen to my husband. So immediately he applied for American Express credit card and he got it. And as a matter of fact, when I applied to my bank, I got it. I got accepted from my bank for a credit card because I've stayed 3 years in the country anyways. But then the credit value they gave me, the credit limit rather, was very small. And then when my husband applied for American Express, the credit limit that he was giving was even higher than mine. It might interest you to know that your credit limit also impacts on your credit score. Yes, so if you have a small credit limit, your credit score will not be so high. But if you have a high credit limit, it will be high. Of course, it will improve your credit score. And the longer your credit card stays and you utilize your credit card well, the more chances are that your bank will increase your credit limit. Because for instance, mine between last year and now has actually increased. Okay, so that's one way you can actually help to improve your credit score. So what are you waiting for? Do you have enough direct debit set up on your account? Because that would definitely help to improve your credit score. Are you on the electoral register? Do you have a credit card? These are the basic ways as an international student or as a new immigrant in the country, you can start improving your credit score. And please erase that mindset about not wanting credit whilst you stay in this country, because this country, they actually thrive on credit. And with that, guys, I've come to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It goes a long way. Like this video so that YouTube can recommend it to more people. Also share this video with so many people and groups you believe that will need it, and also subscribe to the channel if you have not. I will be seeing you guys in my next video. Until then, stay blessed, remain intentional, and take good care of yourselves. Bye.